Hi, Carlotta. We're
Hola.
we're living in very strange times right now. How are you holding up?
It really depends on the day. I think everybody has like good days and bad days.
Uh,
Honestly, if I have to be honest, I'm having a very bad day today.
that's not good.
But yeah, I'm not in my best mood, but it's all right. It's all right. It's just sometimes it really sucks to be stuck in your house. But what else can we do?
Yeah, that's kind of the situation we're in. But what is it about the confinement? Is it kind of the connection with people that you miss, and then being able to perform live?
Yeah, I think it's just like I'm the kind of person who loves life in general. So to have forbidden to go outside and to absorb or to be like a sponge, like to absorb new things and new things to see, new things to listen and stuff. It's just like it drowns me a little bit sometimes. Plus, also I live on my own. I live alone and I can't show you because I have a very big screen, but well, sometimes it drives me crazy, and sometimes I'm all right, and I do stuff. I do, when you're not allowed to do your job, which is
Mm,
probably the thing that you're the best at,
sure.
you start to focus on your hobbies, no? Like, all right, I'm gonna give time to myself. I'm gonna do some hobbies. But obviously, your hobbies are not the best thing you are at because
Sure.
it's never that way because you have a job that you're good at. So it can be also a little bit frustrating. Like for example, I'm gonna show you now that you're recording the video, right?
Yes.
Right. So look, I bought this thing like clay, and
Okay.
I did a
Shark.
shark.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not amazing. I think when I paint it, it's gonna be so much better. I also did like a little jar with flowers. It's more far away, so I'm not gonna take it. I don't know. I've been writing. I've been doodling a little bit, drawing. I've been writing songs. I've been working on Hinds. Yeah,
Sure.
that's not a hobby. That's my job. That's the best. But yeah, I don't know. It just I guess like yeah. I've- that, I cannot say like I don't have like a good advice,
No, no,
to be
it's a
honest.
strange time. And for me, but like you say, you have good days and you have bad days.
Yeah,
Sometimes you're kind of
exactly.
optimistic. I go for a run and everything's fine, but some days you're like, why am I inside all day? So
Yeah.
um, let's talk about some fun things then, which is your new album.
Yeah.
So one thing I read, and I'm never sure because it's the internet. You never know what is true. But that you, as a group, listen to albums before and after recording. Yeah,
Yes.
is there one album that you did that with that sticks out for you?
Yeah, actually, it's Darklands from Jesus and the Mary Chain.
Okay.
Is their second album, and I was so like we live from the when we recorded in New York when we recorded the album. Our Airbnb was like 40 minutes away walking from the
Okay.
studio. So every single day we went there walking and stuff, and sometimes we separated ourselves because we started like at noon or so the recording sessions. So I took a coffee to walk, and yes, I listened to albums because 40 minutes is just like the perfect timing to listen
Sure.
to an album. But I was really into Jesus and the Mary Chain for that time because I think they did incredibly pop albums. Like
Mhm.
you would never think about it because it doesn't sound like pop or what you the idea of pop that you have in your mind, but they actually like the chords and the melodies of the vocals and even the lyrics, like they are pretty poppy in my
Mm,
opinion. And that gave me a little bit of confidence that pop is not only what you think it's sounding in the radio, in the charts. Pop is such a big
Sure.
concept, where maybe Hinds can have a little spot in that concept. So I think that gave me confidence to because we were already doing a pretty much a poppier album than the albums before. So sometimes you're afraid to change yourself in general.
Right.
To people is afraid of changes. So that gave me encouraged me.
Sure. And then, well, what was different then this time? Because I can imagine when you start out and you want to sound a certain way, and you don't want it, like you say, that kind of pop name was kind of like a bad name in some ways at times. So what was different than now, where you felt comfortable and had the confidence to kind of go, well, no, this is just it's nice melodies. Let's just go for it.
I think because we already did 2 albums, incredibly rock albums. The first one super DIY, the second one just like 2 guitars, bass, drums, boom, that's it. Like strictly rock and roll, you know what I mean? So for this album, even before going to the studio and before everything, the first conversation we had about it was like, we want to have more instruments for sure. We want to have synths or pianos or even violins. Like, we don't know yet, but we for sure want to have more depth in the songs, more color, to be more colorful. And we personally talking, we wanted to talk about our reality in the album. We knew that reality sucks sometimes. So you have to be careful, and to make it artistic, we knew we had to find a way to make it pretty, to make it beauty. So we wanted to merge that with the sound too. Instead of like sounding that raw as we used to sound before, we wanted it to be we're with more colors and textures and instruments in the end.
And like you say, then you talk about some of the kind of realities of life, and those aren't always as pretty as. And was that kind of a thing where you wanted to have those two balance, where you talk about difficult things, but then you also have a very happy sound, and it's still fun in a way?
Yeah, I like it. I still love doing that kind of songs, talking about shitty stuff, but do it in a way that it looks beautiful or sounds cool, you know? So yeah, I always like that contrast. And I think we also have it because as we are pretty united, like we write the songs, like when Anna and me, we're not the type of band that one person is with a little notebook, and when you're so depressed and so down, you write a song and stuff, which I completely respect. But we're not like that because we always write together. So I think you can tell that the personality that our sound has, it probably one of the main reasons is because of that, because we are very united, and you always support each other in the end. So it's not the same to be sad alone that sad with somebody else. You always like try to keep the energy a little bit up.
Right, because I can imagine being on tour, the 4 of you, like it's the same like every day. You have good days on tour and bad days on tour. Does it help that it's the 4 of you and one will have a good day and she kind of picks up the rest?
Claro, 100%. Like whenever somebody is having a bad day, the other girl cheers you up, or the other way, like the 3 other girls respect it and give yourself your time. And I mean, you're allowed to have a bad day, and you don't have to make the effort all the time to be amazing, you know?
Right.
So, but yeah. We're so lucky that we are like very good friends, and we have a lot of empathy in between us.
And one thing, well, kind of what comes through in the album is you talk about kind of the life that you're leading and kind of what it is to be a musician. And when I suppose when you started, I think in 2011, when it was just you and Anna, you have this idea of
when we started in 2011, I mean,
Okay.
I wouldn't consider that we were doing covers. We
Okay.
actually started in 2014.
That was kind of when the group as a four began. That was kind of the way you see it.
Mm, No, we still started Anna and me only,
Okay.
but we started writing songs in 2014. And in April of 2014, we decided to be a four piece.
Okay.
And so we were two for very little time, but
Oh, okay.
we wrote a lot of songs, and we actually recorded the first two songs, Bamboo and Trippy Gum.
Right.
That first single, it came out as only Anna and me because it was only Anna and me.
And when you released those two songs, what was your idea of being a musician? And then kind of now having lived that life a little bit, was it the same as you thought it would be?
Dude, we had no idea. I mean, we had no idea what was going to come to us. Like, we were dreaming about playing maybe a little festival in Spain or something, because of course we dreamed. We had like a lot of conversations, the two of us in the room. When you have like the songs done and you have the cover, you have like everything, and you have the concept, and you think it's like super cool, but still it's still not out, but you believe in yourselves. And of course we dreamed, but not we never in the world could imagine that this was going to be that well at all.
But then there's also, I suppose, concessions that you have to make when you choose this life. So what for you? What for you is maybe something that people might not immediately think of when they think of the life of a musician?
To me, the hardest part is to fall in love. Once you fall in love, you fuck up, because you just want to be with that person, and you want to discover that person, and you want to just like, so when you fall in love, suddenly you try to choose to be happy. So even though falling in love gives you a lot of inspiration and a lot of good songs, which is amazing, touring seems harder, because you're always missing not only the obvious stuff, like you miss your friends, you miss your house, you miss your coffee that you like it your way, and your family and everything. But suddenly there's something even bigger, that is that your heart is in another place, and that's difficult to explain, how it hurts to live apart from someone you love. And because in the end you cannot stop it, because you're living, and life on tour, it goes double the speed as regular life. So suddenly, and time differences, and I don't know, it's very complicated to fall in love.
And then now there's a couple of songs that kind of deal with this. And let's pick because I think the opening track, "Good Bad Times," is one that kind of deals with that long relationship. But it's also one of the songs, I think, where the new sounds comes through quite well. So can you tell me about the start of that song?
Yeah, this song, we wrote it in one day. It's incredible. Like, some songs it takes us forever, and some songs just like, even the lyrics, like we changed one sentence or something like that. We changed so little in between the demo and the final version of the song. And this one is more, not only about being away, but also a little bit about like this kind of like possessive love that uh, yeah, it's sometimes like you're trapped.
Well, I can imagine trust is a difficult thing because of the distance.
Exactly.
I will think.
Yeah, exactly. And limits become blurry sometimes, and I don't know. It's difficult. So yeah, we actually, when we wrote the chorus, we thought it was these kind of bars in a song that is like, I don't know if this is like a really good bar, or actually is so silly, like you're turning good times into bad times. It's incredibly simple, and I still don't know if it's like a genius bar or too silly.
No, but I think you have to be, and then one thing that I like because you've incorporated some Spanish into it as well. That I
Yep,
think that kind of you have to be honest about who you are. And so as long as you're honest, then if it's silly, it's silly, but that's fine, you know.
that's true.
So
That's true. It's authentic in the end.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So was that a similar thought about Spanish because there is some Spanish throughout the album?
Yeah.
Was that a
Also, it was because of that, and also because just an artistic decision. Like since album number 2, we wanted to sing in Spanish for sure, at least more. And because in album 2 we had one song with a mix of languages with French also and stuff. Because Anna is half French, and yeah, we even though we knew it was a challenge because we've been since ever, like since we write songs, we write them in English, so we have our personal creative process where even though with our brains work in Spanish and we
right?
talk to each other in Spanish and stuff, once you put it into the paper, into the notebook, it's in English, and that is when it becomes art.
Mm,
So suddenly we had to question ourselves, like, what kind of bar is it legit to say in Spanish, or because as it is our quotidian, our ordinary language.
mm,
I want to do it in an artistic way, and
right.
I don't want to just like be. I don't know. I want to say it pretty too.
Sure, sure.
There's a million ways to say I love you, and there's a million songs that talks about I love you. But how do I like it, and how I want to speak myself about it? So I was so concerned about it, and I was like, I need to build my own taste about this. So
Mm,
I started like to study music sung in Spanish, and
okay.
like trying to like, all right, I like this better. I don't like this at all. I like how this is told, this artist or other
Mm.
artist, and after that, like I did a playlist. I sent it to Anna, like, you have to listen to this every morning. so you so we get used to the sound and everything,
Right.
and yeah, and then we jump into the pool of singing in
But
Spanish.
because I would have thought, well, singing in your native language is easier, but like you say, it can be a very, you want to phrase it the correct way, so that can maybe it's even more difficult in that
Exactly,
sense.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly. Not even more difficult, but you judge yourself more for
mm.
sure.
And so when you delve into these Spanish artists, are there some that you
Eh,
still like to listen to?
of course, now I'm a pro. I love them.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. I love them all. Like there's so much. Like there's a lot. We have a very fertile language and artists and musicians. So I'm so happy I started to listen to that because I wasn't paying attention before.
Okay.
It was just like that, and yeah, I love it, honestly.
And then talking about kind of keeping things close and being true to yourself, then Come Back and Love Me is sonically is kind of trying
Super
to
Spanish,
yeah
yeah.
to kind of embrace that side of you as well. And was that a similar thing with the pop? Like were you afraid maybe on earlier albums to kind of go down that route with the song?
Maybe, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think once you grow up a little bit and you are more mature, more or less, uh, yeah, you just like start to give a fuck about what people is gonna think about you. And also, I think as we had a career behind, it's not the same as presenting yourself to the world with a pop album. You know,
Right,
is
right.
is something that gave us like, yeah, I've already done 2 amazing albums in this type of music, and I feel ready right now to put synths and to put to play with a click, to make Amber play with a
Sure.
click, and to yeah, to refine our sound a little bit, so it's more organic instead of like a new band that comes out of
Mm.
nowhere and suddenly we sound amazing. Suspicious, you know?
Right, right. But now, kind of with that new sound and like say incorporating new instruments. I don't think have you been able to play anything live before this whole virus thing happened?
Only with the Strokes.
Okay, because
Only we
no, go
tour
ahead.
with them. See, and that is the only time that we've played new songs.
Okay.
And of course, the whole live show has changed.
Right.
Now
So,
we bring a keyboard. Anna plays it. We give it to her as a present for her birthday.
did she know how to play?
No.
So she learned.
She learned.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, she learned.
Excellent.
Super nice. Yeah. She's awesome. And and yeah, Amber had to practice a lot with the click and everything and the SPD and I mean, we still haven't had the time to actually go for 2 weeks to the rehearsal place every single day and to prepare it because coronavirus happened. But I can't wait to prepare the new live show. Yeah.
And one other song I want to talk about is you kind of mentioned just now, kind of you've gotten to that point where you can say, well, fuck it, I don't care about what they think of me or that kind of thing. And then a song like Meow, Just Like Kids, is that kind of a song like that where, okay, just go fuck yourself and then...
Exactly. Exactly that. Like sexism is all around, and
Sure.
and we've been surrounded by sexism since the day number one in our careers, and we wanted to speak up and to speak about it, but with sense of humor. Like,
Sure.
there's some ways of feminism that suddenly it's just exhausting to complain all the time. It's just like exhausting. And you don't want to be angry every day because you don't want to. I also want to be happy, and I also want to be an artist who has a message my message is not only that I'm a girl and I'm doing something. No, please. I want you to focus in that I am doing something.
Right.
So in what I am doing. So, so yeah, like I think we approach it in my opinion, in a super healthy way, which is laughing about it and but speaking about.
Because I can imagine kind of with what we talked about earlier, when you don't have an idea what being a musician is really like until you do it, and then one part of it is also that people will start to form opinions about you, whether it be from the music industry or just people on YouTube behind the keyboard. So, is that a strange thing? I think maybe Burn is kind of talks about that a little bit.
Yeah, Burn is one of my favorites. Yeah, I don't know. I think as we are pretty transparent, we've always been pretty transparent, and we never lied about. We always have said very loud that we have no idea. I learned the guitar. I learned how to play the guitar with the band, actually. And that's why it's kind of cool if you listen to the albums, like the guitar solo, or the chords progression, like they grow with me as a guitar player, and that's super cool. But that opens a door for every single person from a conservatory to tell you what to do, or to tell you that a song cannot have this kind of chorus because that is not a chorus, that's a guitar solo, or to tell you that you should do this or your sound should, I don't know, like people who know more than you. It's so, makes sense that they think they're helping you, and they think that you need their advice, when in the end I think for us it was more just I think we were pretty clever when we tried to do like a safety area in between the four of us and try to believe in our opinions even more than what people was telling us, and I think in like doing that we kept it real.
And I think it's also something you have to take with a grain of salt in a way, because I think I'm convinced that if Jimi Hendrix was alive today, people would say, no, you shouldn't play it like this, or you should play it. Yeah. I mean, people will always complain. So it's one of those things.
Everything. Yeah.
So finally then, kind of you described that life of being a musician in this album, but now you can't perform it, and you can't kind of, in a way, you can't live that life that you are getting used to right now. So optimistically, when do you hope? Are you already thinking about kind of figuring out ways to connect with people on a more
100%. Like actually in Spain, they're speaking about we're doing already like we're going out the quarantine. So they're speaking about sitting down, distanced, 400 maximum outdoors gigs, concerts, which sounds amazing to me.
Yeah.
Like at least it's live music.
It's something, right? So, even if it's 10 people, to me, that's...
It's amazing. So that, and also like, yeah, we have to, we are having meetings like for when the album comes out, like what kind of content we can do to be in touch, because you don't want your songs to die, you know. Like we are the kind of band, because maybe like more in the urban or the hip hop, like people depend more in just a place in Spotify, for example.
Right.
But us, we're the kind of band that we really depend on touring and on the live show, and that's the way we keep our music alive. And yeah, we have to reconsider the whole thing, and I mean, yeah, we have to be creative in that way. One more time, it's all right.
We'll get through it. It'll be all right. Carlotta, thank you very much for your time.
Yes.
Thank you for speaking with me.